Yeah, welcome to Crypto Adelaide. Thank you all for coming. This is our first show, so go easy on us. Obviously, I'm not a public speaker, but that's okay. We have 15 presentations all up for you guys, varied from educational presentations, NFTs, DeFi, and some really good national and local companies that are using blockchain and crypto in everyday use. So first up is Al, and he'll cover a bit of the basics.
So who would have thought 35 years ago we could send a person to the space station, grow vegetables without soil, send an email to someone across the other side of the world, and I'll have it in a matter of seconds, or send somebody $100 worth of Bitcoin to somebody in Canada, and within a few minutes they can jump in their car, go to a crypto ATM machine and withdraw it. Yet here today, if somebody gets paid on, let's say, a day before a public holiday, let's say Thursday, there's a good chance that money won't go in until the following Monday or Tuesday. Even though we bank with a local bank, our employer's local, and they bank with a local bank, a lot of the times we don't get that money when we need it. So we can send and receive an email, we can send $100 worth of crypto to someone across the other side of the world, and they can have it within a matter of minutes. Yet we can't access our own funds within our own state. You see, when you open up a bank account, you're basically saying to somebody, or you're saying to the bank, here's all my money, you can do whatever you want with it, under the provision that when I want it, I've got access to it. And as a reward, what they'll do is they'll give you, 0.01%. But we don't have access to that money all the time, do we? Now, before we go into what is blockchain, there's a couple of protocols I wanted to cover. For thousands of years, we've been accustomed to what they call paper guarantees. It's basically a legal document that guarantees a certain contractual agreement. Banks use them, insurance companies use them, and some peer-to-peer web platforms use them as well. Now, these guarantees are only backed by the legal system, enforcing what that piece of paper says. And this is how we've worked for thousands of years. With paper guarantees, you have all these risks. It depends on your legal system, it depends on auditors, and it also depends on people-driven enterprises who decide the outcome of that guarantee. Some will be for you, some will be against you, and some won't come up with a decision at all. Then came the emergence of Bitcoin and decentralised infrastructure. Basically, you can sign something with your Bitcoin private key, and you'll be able to move that Bitcoin. That's it. Cryptographic guarantees is 100% guaranteed. For the first time in history, you can be provided with a cryptographic guarantee as far as an agreement goes. It started with Bitcoin, and now it's going towards DeFi, NFTs, Web3. It relies on encryption and private keys. It is 100% guaranteed. If a smart contract is written a certain way, it will always execute in that certain way each and every single time. There is no conflict of interest. So what is a blockchain? A blockchain is basically a distributed data storage, which consists of containers or blocks, as they're commonly known. Each block, get up here, has basically its own unique data, it's time-stamped as well. And at the very beginning of the block, the first block in a blockchain is what they call a genesis block. And then every block after that carries the existing block hash of the previous block. And that's why they call it a blockchain, because everything's basically chained together. Now, if we go to a website, basically, if I was to type in hello, it'll give me that hash at the bottom. And this is why it's critical with smart contracts. You have to get 100% accurate. you can't go back, you can't change it, they're 100% immutable. Okay, so whatever you put on the blockchain, once it's deployed, it cannot be changed. So for example, now if I was to change that to a capital H, where are you? As you can see, it changes. Now this is a typical blockchain. You've got the genesis block, number 1. You've got the bounce and the data, and there's the previous hash there. So that hash now goes to the previous hash of block 2. And that hash now goes to previous block over there on block 3. So let's say, for argument's sake, if we go over to here, so if we were to try and change the data, for argument's sake, say this is a complete blockchain, and if we were trying to change this data and have it mined, it changes that hash. Now we could go to the expense of having all these other transactions remined, but the problem is all these peers are what they call nodes. Basically, a node is a computer on the blockchain. There's thousands of them, literally hundreds of thousands of them, and they all carry a copy of the blockchain. So if we go to change some data, as you can see, peer C, which is another computer, will have a look and say, hang on, that hash is incorrect. As soon as we change that data, that hash is changed, and now we go back here, it's got a copy of the original blockchain, we'll say, hang on, that's not correct. So your data in the transaction actually won't go through. It'll actually get booted off the blockchain, okay? So here's a typical list of transactions. So let's say we know Ripley quite well, Lambert quite well. Instead of giving him $97, we want to try and backdoor the system, so to speak, and give him $9,977. We try to remine that. And it produces a new hash number or identifier. And as you can see here, it doesn't match up. It's a completely different hash number. So the transaction won't go through. That's how secure it is. So when we go to make a transaction on the blockchain, a block is represented, that transactions are created. The block is now sent to every node or every computer on the network. It's validated through a consensual agreement. Everybody says, yeah, that's correct. From there, the node receives the reward. Now, you probably would have heard the term miners. What miners basically do is solve a cryptographic puzzle. So they're solving a cryptographic puzzle to finish off that block. Now, miners are no different to any other business. They invest in thousands and thousands of dollars of equipment. They've got running costs and everything else. So people who mine solo, they actually, if they find the block first, they'll get rewarded. But most people actually mine in a pool. So once everything's validated, that block is then added on to the existing blockchain, and then it's updated and the transaction's complete. Now that takes literally minutes, if not seconds. That's how quick and secure it is as well. This is a typical example of how we do business today. It's an organic coffee shop. So we've got the grower, we've got the roaster, we've got the distributor, the wholesaler, your shop and your end customer. You're trusting that your wholesaler or your distributor is buying organic coffee beans. Now let's say, for example, it's the end of the month, you've had a really good weekend and you need to put in a large order. The distributor goes to put in that order but then realises his usual, the distributor goes to put in that order, let's say he's short. You've got no way to check. He could just pick up some coffee beans from wherever. You've got no actual way of checking where these beans have come from. So that your whole business is based on trust. With smart contracts, you alleviate that trust. So things you can build on the blockchain. You've got a public blockchain, which is permissionless. Anyone can join, read and write. It's decentralised. No one has control over the network. It's secure. Data can't be changed. You've also got a private blockchain, which is permissioned. Restrictions on who is allowed to participate in the network. It's decentralised. Authentication is required and it's secure. Once again, data can't be changed. Examples of the public and closed is voting records, or a whistleblower. Then you've got public and open, such as currencies, betting, video games. Private and closed, construction, national defence, law enforcement, tax return, or private and open, government financial records. The beauty of everything being on a blockchain, it's decentralised. Unlike a bank where it's controlled by one person, all your personal information is stored on one server. It's all decentralised. It's completely transparent and it's flexible. It's got speed and efficiency, and more importantly, it's secure. You're removing that conflict of interest and you're providing a trust minimised agreement. So it's providing freedom and trustless. Now, as you know, there's been a lot of talk with NFTs, web, music and everything else. That's only the beginning. Imagine selling your home. You don't have to go through conveyancers, solicitors or anything. You've got a copy of the deed as an NFT. And the transactions within seconds. You've got white goods, you've got cars, you've got a will, everything. Everything can be done all on the blockchain. At the moment, if we go overseas and something happens to us in hospital, there's no way they can obtain our medical records. So you can imagine if all that was on the blockchain, where somebody with a private key can just have a look and look up our records. So that's the way it's all going. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Al. Appreciate the speech. Now, we have Brodie up next. Excuse me while I'm getting his presentation ready. And he will be discussing, I'm sure you've all seen Pay Me and I'll teach you how to trade, etc. Now, there are benefits and there are drawbacks, and Brodie will discuss why you possibly see some value in those paid courses and also things to be careful of. So, thank you, Brodie.
G'day ladies and gentlemen, how are we going?
Good.
Good? Doing well, thank you Al for that presentation, mate, that was fantastic. So my name is Brodie Denton and I am a student with the MBA Trading Academy. Now, before anyone says anything, yes, my partner did pick out this shirt. It's got olive branches on it and I know I look like a bloody olive tree, but hey, it's growing on me. So now I know who the dads are in the room. That was a fantastic dad joke. Alright, so before I get stuck into it, I am just going to tell you guys a little about me. So I'm 26 years old and I live in the wealthy suburbs of Morphettvale. If anyone knows Morphettvale, they know that that's not wealthy at all. I work full-time in maintenance and I am new to fatherhood, so I'm getting used to being sleep deprived. I've been trading crypto for about 12 months. I've been in the space just shy of 2 years, but I've only been learning to trade properly in crypto for about 12 months. And I have been fortunate enough now to actually have trading cover my lifestyle and my bills as a result of some hard work and dedication. Apart from that, my mum also thinks I'm a pretty stand-up bloke. Okay, so some common experiences with cryptocurrency. A lack of knowledge. We see it everywhere, right? We see it on social media. You go on these crypto groups, and you see people, what should I buy? Well, I've got $2,000. What 1,000x gems out there, right? There is a lot of a lack of knowledge in the space. I've been there. A lot of us have probably been there. You know, we're new to the space. It's hard to comprehend what's going on. It's hard to decipher information. Right? There's so much bloody information out there in the crypto space. There's heaps. You know, Al just touched a bit on the blockchain, and that's, you know, merely just biting into the surface. So once again, you've got all these influencers on YouTube. They're trying to teach you things, and you know, it can be really hard to comprehend. Emotional decisions, FOMO. Who here's FOMO'd into a coin? Be honest. Yeah, I have. We've all FOMO'd. Everyone who was in Luna recently, I feel very sorry for you guys. I do. What happened to Luna was absolutely tragic and an absolute anomaly, but it just goes to show that crypto is very risky, and you have to educate yourself to give yourself the best chance in the space. A loss of funds, we've all lost money, right? It's easy to lose money. Statistics show that more people in this space will actually lose money than make money. And scams, I'm going to go over scams at the end of the presentation, so that's a pretty common experience in the crypto space as well. Now, the benefits of paid education. I will let you guys know before I go through these slides, I am a student with MBA Trading Academy, so what you're going to be seeing throughout these slides does relate to what my academy offers, and it's not to shill MBA, but it is to show you guys what is out there and to give you something to compare to as well if you are looking down the road of paid education. So some things we can expect from paid education is support and guidance, structured learning, which can be time flexible, opportunities in the space, staying in the loop, personal development, and community. Don't mind me. Okay. So support and guidance. Having direct support from successful coaches, people that have been through market cycles, people that do this full time, people who know what they're doing. They've been trading for a long time. All right, so having that support from those people is really what you want out of education. Live sessions, all right. We all know due to coronavirus, we've all had to change our lifestyle. A lot of things have gone online now to Zoom, so quite often you'll see live sessions on Zoom or something similar where you can connect with the coaches and mentors in the community. Events. So you can see in that picture there, that was an event that I went to recently in Melbourne. And it's just a really good way that you can connect with all of the other people in the community. You can have a day packed full of information. You can have that direct support as well. And so direct and hands-on support from mentors. So aside from coaches in the space, you know, there might be mentors as well within the paid education. And just that extra support around you to help you move forward with your trading. And team calls multiple times throughout the week. So that would just be, you know, connecting with those coaches on a regular basis, a daily basis, to once again give you that support. Structured learning, well-structured lessons, beginner to advance. Look, the information is out there on the internet, right? You can learn how to trade on the internet. It's all there on YouTube. It's great. I did it before I joined somewhere. I went on YouTube. And I tried to learn Fibonacci and Bollinger Bands and all these other indicators. I couldn't make any bloody sense of it. It was so structured lessons, beginner to advance. They start you at the bottom and bring you through to advance. So they ease you into it. All right, it gives you the best chance of learning this stuff without getting overwhelmed. Ongoing added content. So you know, apart from the technical analysis course in paid education, you know, some other opportunities as well to learn, you know, NFTs or personal development, So there's always ongoing added content. And at your own pace, everything is recorded. Most paid education things will be readily available. A lot of us are pretty time poor. We all work full-time, part-time, have kids. So, time is important to us. So being able to watch things that are recorded are really important as well. Opportunities. So apart from the basic course in paid education, it's good to be able to have access to other opportunities as well, such as Launchpad IDOs and ICOs. So if you guys don't know what that is access to coins at pre-market prices. NFT whitelists, special training, whether that's DeFi or personal development, and partnerships as well. So, when you're looking for paid education, one thing that I would say is it's great if you can find a place that has a really good course, but also a place that has other things on offer as well. Personal development. Now this isn't talked about enough in this space. Some of you may have heard that when you're trading, it is 80% psychology and 20% analysis. This is 100% true. Learning the trading, learning the charts, learning the technical analysis is the easy part. It's your mindset that's going to keep you in the markets, right? So one of the benefits of paid education is having people around you, having that special training around personal development. And that can be around wealth management. So in terms of where you're investing, some financial planning, and basically just pulling apart your finances and where they are and really creating a good wealth plan. Mindset, like I was speaking about. So we talked about emotional decisions, FOMO. That's usually the downfall of us all, right? We can learn our analysis, everything can be great, but as soon as our emotions get involved in trading, everything just goes to shit. Excuse my language. Psychology, that taps on the back of mindset. So once again, just making sure that we have that support and that teaching around mindset and psychology. And also physical well-being as well. So physical well-being adds to our mindset and psychology. If we're feeling physically well and physically fit, then it's going to help us with our mindset. Community. So proximity is power. Has anyone heard that saying, proximity is power? Anybody? Yep, beautiful. So the way I like to explain it is, if you hang around 4 alcoholics, you're probably going to be the 5th alcoholic. So basically, if you surround yourself with like-minded people who are successful, the chances are you're going to be on the right path to being successful. So the biggest benefit of paid education is a strong community, having people around you that are always going to push you towards your goals, really support you and get you to where you need to be. 24/7 communication. It's always nice to have someone to talk to about all things crypto, to run your trading ideas past everybody. So having that 24/7 communication is really good, whether or not that's coaches and mentors or whether or not that's other students in the space. Relationships. I can't even think of the amount of relationships I've made from paid education. I've got 2 fine gentlemen sitting here that I've made really good friendships with over the past couple of weeks, and some longer term ones as well over the last 12 months that I've been learning. Accountability. Things can get really hard. It's not a straight road, right? Learning to trade, learning about crypto, it's not a straight line. You're going to have setbacks, you're going to have pullbacks, so it's nice to have that community behind you to hold you accountable in achieving your goals. Culture. Culture is really important. Having those people that are supportive, that have a good energy, that drive you towards your goals, and experiences. So that goes on the back of events. You know, there's opportunities to have really good experiences through paid education as well. A lot of paid education, they'll have the opportunities to come out to events like this, and you know, where you can enjoy yourself and have a good time. So now I'm going to run over scams. All right, so some of you may have seen this meme before. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. How to spot a scam. Scams are huge in this space, and it just baffles me, you know, how many people sort of get sucked into scams. But I can't judge because, you know, what I think is, you know, blatantly obvious that it's a scam, some people might not. So random prize winners, you know, most of us here have probably been tagged on Facebook from CoinSpot that we've won 1 BTC or 0.5 BTC. It's a bloody scam. Every day of the week it's a scam. The most important thing to remember about this space is people aren't just going to give you money, right? Quite often, more often than not, people are not just going to give you crypto. So that's important to keep in the back of your mind. Emails and SMS with unofficial links. I've seen Jason put up something in the Adelaide Crypto group not long ago about a guy who received a phone call from Apple, and they needed him to reset his Apple ID password. Didn't know anything about it, so he went ahead with it, reset his password. Once they had access to his Apple account, they accessed his MetaMask and stole $600,000 worth of Ethereum. So unofficial links, people ringing you, always cross-check who is talking to you and what links you're getting from people as well. Random messages about automated crypto platforms. These two fine gentlemen on the screen here. We've all received messages from people. Hello, how are you? I sent you a crypto group. I thought we could share some ideas. We've all seen them. We've all seen them. They are usually 100% a scam. What they want you to do is they want you to get onto their platform. You might put in $200, and then they'll tell you that you have made $20,000, but all you need to do is actually just give them $2,000 to withdraw that $20,000. You're going to give them $2,000 and they're not going to give you nothing. My auntie actually got scammed by this only a couple of months ago, so I tried to tell her. External hacks. Now these ones are a bit harder to these ones are a bit harder to minimise, right? So your computer, if you do all your stuff on your computer, you just want to make sure that your computer is free of malware. You want to be doing scans constantly to make sure that everything on your computer is virus-free. So things that you can change your privacy settings on your social media to stop all these random people basically reaching out to you. Consistent PC scans, like I was saying, you want to make sure there's no malicious content on your PC. Use a cold wallet. Now, if you guys don't know what a cold wallet is, it's these guys here. So there's two main ones, there's Trezor and Ledger. These are really good security. So a lot of people think these work like a USB, but they don't. What they actually do is your crypto is stored on the blockchain. And what these devices do is they store your keys, they store your phrases. So think of it as a key for a door or a key for a safe that unlocks your crypto. So all your crypto's on the blockchain, these are going to allow you to access that crypto on the blockchain. So I highly recommend those if you are holding any cryptocurrency. Always verify links. Like I was saying before, if you get sent something suspicious or just anything in general, just check it, guys. Check for the original link. Go on their website, cross-reference it. There's too many times people are being scammed in this space, and it's on us to do what we can do to make sure that that doesn't happen. And be wary of certain mobile apps as well. I've heard of certain mobile apps that can actually have full access to your phone, and if somebody has full access to your phone and you have your Binance or your MetaMask on your phone, then they're going to be able to get into that. So just be careful what you download as well. So that is about it for me, guys, on paid education and scams. So thank you for listening, and hopefully you guys learned something as well. I'm really excited to see what we've got in for the rest of the day. So if you guys have any questions at all, just come and see me afterwards. I'll be at the bar and I'll be accepting all donations of alcohol. All right? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brody. Bit of light comedy to see us along. Next, we actually have a local company. Data privacy is such a big thing, not just in crypto, but in all aspects of your life. And Chris is here from Verida, and he would like to tell you more about what they do.
Thanks, Jason. Firstly, thank you, Jason, for organising this event. I think, so give him a little round of applause. I think this is obviously an emerging space, so having an event like this here in Adelaide is a really good thing to kind of kickstart this community and ecosystem, and hopefully it can grow from this exciting point forward. So just before I start, just a sense of the audience here. So maybe put your hands up if you've purchased Bitcoin or Ethereum at some point. All right. Sorry, leave your hand up if you have bought a token that isn't Bitcoin or Ethereum. Okay, awesome. So maybe 3/4 of the room. And who here, leave your hand up if you've used a decentralized exchange at DEX. Okay, cool. All right, that's really good. So the other question is, any developers here in the room? So maybe 3. Okay, that's really good to know. 4.
Keep it high level, mate.
Okay, so Verida, so just some context. I'm the CEO of Verida. There's actually 2 of our team members here, Ryan and Nick are also here. Founded here in Adelaide. We have a team of 15 across the world, in the United States, across Asia and Africa. We raised a $3 million US seed round 12 months ago from 16 investors all around the world. And our whole premise is thinking about blockchain as computation, so the ability for computers to kind of compute and perform calculations in a trusted manner. And we see a massive opportunity to actually take that to the data space. So that's actually built into our name. So thinking about verification, which ties into trust and signatures that we heard about earlier with blockchain. Identity, so thinking about maybe a blockchain address or a wallet is sort of a new type of identity in this Web3 space. And then data. Data can mean lots of different things. It can mean a social media post. It could mean my health data that perhaps I need to access in another country. It could mean my financial records that are stored in a financial system. It could be a private message between me and some friends. There's lots of different types of data, and really what we're trying to do at Verida is to take some of these decentralized concepts around finance and actually extend that into this new world of personal data. And our, I guess, intent there is that we can create the opportunity for brand new business models. We can unlock a lot of data that's stored in centralized platforms by Apple and Google and Facebook, and we can help people own that data. And in doing so, we can open that data for developers to start to create new personalized products and services. And that's what we think over the next 10 years is going to be a massive opportunity to innovate and create really interesting products and services beyond just what blockchain is providing to them. So that really comes back to our mission. So we envisage this future state of the world where people can own and benefit from their personal data and enhance their personal experiences. So let's just give some simple examples of that. So let's say on my phone we have a mobile wallet that we've developed. It has support for cryptocurrencies, but also my data and also decentralized messaging. So imagine a world where my phone can have all of my data about my social media posts, my health information, all of my likes on Facebook, things like that. Perhaps I walk into the scan a QR code, and Brody, perhaps you do this, and it pops up and says, oh, you like Heineken? Oh, okay, here's half price Heineken. And it says, hey, Ryan's over there down the road, you're friends with Ryan, he also likes Heineken. Well, send him a message and we'll give him 2 for 1 as well, and you can have a schnitzel because you also like schnitzel. So how can we try and take people's data and connections and use that to improve our everyday life. And that could be, as a very simple example, it could be perhaps, helping our career, having data about who we are as a personality type and using that information to help recommend events that we attend or people we connect with. There's a whole new world, we think, that can be opened up to create new personalised experiences. At the moment, there's a lot of problems if you dive into this space a little bit deeper. Facebook owns a lot of our data, Google owns a lot of that data. We don't have control over it. Others are profiting from it because they're selling ads and monetizing that information. More technically, in sort of the blockchain crypto space, there's some solutions about building data that's decentralized, but it's all public data. It's a lot about sort of NFTs, which are sort of public images or things like that. There's a really missing piece in the technology stack around private data. And fundamentally, that's the technology that we've developed, and we are sort of working with partners around the world to build out into a new sort of ecosystem. Some of those ecosystem partners that we've partnered with, the New Protocol, put your hand up if you've heard of New Protocol. Okay, cool. So New Protocol, for those who don't know, is a bit like Ethereum, but it's an alternative to Ethereum. It's gained a lot of attractive sort of press lately, and is growing very fast. I think they just hit 10 million wallets last week, which is really exciting. Polkadot, Algorand, we're working with those guys as well, and they are in a similar boat. They're sort of trying to compete with Ethereum. There's a number of these sort of L1s that are trying to compete, and there's some of those I think we think are kind of quite interesting. But obviously we're working, in the Ethereum ecosystem as well. I won't go too hard on this, but if you just have a look, I guess, at what we're building as a company, and eventually we'll be sort of decentralizing our operations outside of the company, but we're building a lot of different solutions. So we've got a core protocol, and which is sort of infrastructure for this new sort of Web3 world. That's around personalized private data storage, and also the identity piece that I mentioned earlier. And then on top of that stack, we're building some products. So we've built a mobile phone app called the Breeder Vault. People can download that from the App Store, and that's sort of the entry point to start to own your own data, own your own crypto, receive decentralized messages, and interact with other people in this emerging space. And then we've got some other solutions there around messaging and credentialing. So this is the mobile phone app that we've developed. So as I said, it's a self-custody app. We have no access to any data. It's all decentralized. So that concept of not your keys, not your crypto, we're applying that to both crypto and your data in this sort of new world. So you have a seed phrase. That seed phrase can unlock the app. It can unlock all your different crypto accounts across multiple blockchains. It can unlock your personal private data. You get an identity there that allows you to then consent to your data sharing with other apps, consenting with sharing information with other users, and eventually it now enables some really interesting new models around QR code payments, tokenization of data, so sharing data with other people, actually getting rewarded for that. Perhaps you've got a rare kidney disease and there's some researchers in the United States that are really interested in your data. You might consent to sharing some of that data and getting some tokens in exchange. Perhaps you pay some tokens because you can share your data anonymously with an AI algorithm that's trained over millions of other people's private data and can then recommend suggestions to improve your health. So there's a whole new sort of emerging space here that we're really excited to be a part of. If we look at this at a sort of a macro level and sort of, I guess, the trends that we're seeing and what's happening, on one side here we have the Googles, the Facebooks, the Microsofts, Apples of the world, and they own and control all of our data at the moment. We sort of can access it, but it's only through their interface, and it's all sort of siloed in these different areas. If people want to unlock and innovate around your data, you have to go and work for Facebook, you have to go and work for Google, and you have to kind of be within those sort of systems. What we're looking to do here is actually have a bit of a process where people can actually connect to those services, and as an individual we actually have a legal right to own our data. So we can enable people to actually claim their data, pull that in and store that on our decentralized network and own that. Again, it's all controlled and owned by us as users. Once that data is there, we have tools for developers, and we have support and tutorials where developers can come in and actually request access to your data and then use that to create these new types of personalized services. And we think this is going to be really a huge game changer for a whole range of industries. One of the key things here is that we want to incentivize and make this not just sort of decentralized technology, but also a decentralized community. So our technology, everything that we're building is aimed to incentivize people. So incentivize developers to help us connect to these different data sources. Incentivize developers to create these new products and services. And so if you're familiar at all with what's been happening in the decentralized finance, the DeFi space, effectively the concept of having digital tokens has enabled people with significant funds to create these liquidity pools, basically put lots of crypto assets into these pools. And then developers can write smart contracts and create brand new products and services, financial products and services that are really new and innovative. And that's really been a lot of the innovation that's happened in DeFi. And that's unlocked, obviously, more capital, more liquidity, and has really, I guess, helped the crypto ecosystem grow. We see a similar trend here. If we can help people unlock their data, think of it as liquidity for data, we suddenly have this huge amount of data that developers can tap into and start to create these new products and services. And so what's happened in the DeFi space, we want to see happen to data. And if you can do it with data, you're effectively then impacting almost every industry in the economy. You're not just impacting in the finance sector, which is what's happening primarily in the DeFi space at the moment. I won't go too much into some of the sort of token side of things, but we do have a lot of partners that are building with us. This is just a small snapshot. So we've got a project in Bermuda that's doing healthcare credentialing using our system. We've got Woblin is doing a really interesting work in the United States around building different communities, incentivizing those communities to engage with each other, attend events, and be rewarded for how they participate and help grow those communities. We have Finclusive. So Finclusive is a partner that is in the United States. They do things like help people use their bank account and get crypto, purchase or sell crypto and connect it to their bank account. And some really interesting work there around regulatory changes that are happening around KYC. So if anybody out there is familiar with having to open an exchange account, you need to go through a KYC process and hold a photo with your passport and the date and do some sort of like yoga, then there's some solutions that are being put in place around trying to do that once and being able to share that digital credential across multiple model exchanges, but also sort of DeFi exchanges in the future as well. So that's it. Look, here's our team. As I mentioned, Ryan and Nick are here in Adelaide today, and feel free to have a chat to them or have a drink with them later on. As I said, we've got a distributed team, and look, hopefully that gives you a bit of insight into, I guess, an organisation here that's based, found in Adelaide, that's looking to try and make a difference in this space. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chris. And how good is that? We have things like that happening in Adelaide. I love it. Adelaide is actually starting to make a name for itself within the blockchain world. Next, another Adelaide presenter, Daniel from Hardlocks. He has an exchange. So I would like to get him to get up and discuss Bitcoin and regulation.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jason, and I'd also like to thank you and the other organizers for putting on this event. It's a great event, a lot of very interesting people, a lot of smart traders. I've already met some, and it's great to have it in Adelaide. So I'll just give a quick intro to myself. So my name is Daniel. I run Hardblock, which is Australia's oldest Bitcoin-only exchange. I also run the Adelaide Bitcoin Meetup, and that's the oldest Bitcoin meetup in Adelaide. We hold meetups once a month. You can find us on meetup.com or bitcoinadelaide.net. I'm also involved in the Australian Bitcoin industry body. And the Australian Bitcoin industry body is an industry organization to represent the Bitcoin industry and help promote Bitcoin. So that's myself. And today I'll briefly talk about why Hardblock is a Bitcoin-only exchange. So briefly, I get a lot of questions, why Bitcoin-only? So explain very briefly about that. And I also talk a bit about the upcoming regulation in Australia. But before I do that, I just wanted to ask, like right now, we're very lucky. Bitcoin is on a huge discount. Who is excited about 40% discounts? Who loves sales? I love sales. This is so exciting. This is. I hope everybody is as excited as me. But okay, no seriousness. Obviously, we are in a bear market. It's pretty clear. So I will give maybe a brief history of Bitcoin price and maybe to help people understand where we are in the current cycle. So if you go back in history, in 2013, towards the end of 2013, there was a run-up where the Bitcoin price rose to just over 1,000 US dollars. Following that, over the next 2 years, it fell in a bear market to a low of around 280 US dollars. And that was close to the previous cycle high. After that, it rose, and it rose towards the end of 2017 and beginning of 2018. It rose to just over 20,000 US dollars. Following that, in the bear market, it went down to around $3,000, which was just above the previous cycle high of $1,000. Now in this cycle, it rose to around 80,000 US dollars or something, and it's sitting at around $29,000. So that's 9,000 above the previous cycle high of $20,000. So going by those patterns, that would suggest that the end of the bear market is very close to the end of the bear market, and we wouldn't expect it, based on previous patterns, we wouldn't expect it to go much below 20,000 US dollars if it does get there. But well, don't say it, because again, it's just looking at previous patterns. But obviously, a pattern is a pattern until it's not a pattern. So we don't know what's going to happen. But I hope that gives people an idea of where we stand. Anyway, so the question I often get is, Daniel, why is hard block Bitcoin only? And I will very briefly try to summarize that and explain that. It's hard for me to give a proper explanation because we only have a short time. But so Bitcoin is property, it's an asset. And if you look at other assets, like for example just land, over the past decades, many people from countries such as China or oligarchs from Russia have been moving their wealth and to buy property and land in Western countries. One of the big reasons they do that is because Western countries have a history of strong property rights. Countries like China or Russia and others don't have a history of strong property rights. So people with wealth want to move their wealth somewhere with strong property rights. So with Bitcoin, for the first time ever, we have property rights enforced by technology. Property rights enforced by cryptography and by a decentralized network. And by decentralized networks. So the Bitcoin network is the most decentralized currency, digital currency that there is. This means that with Bitcoin you get the strongest property rights. In fact, I believe that right now Bitcoin offers the strongest property rights in the history of humanity. I really believe that. That's why I'm so passionate about it. I believe this is amazing technology. I'll repeat that again. I believe it offers the strongest property rights in the history of humanity, Bitcoin. And that's why at Hardblock, I believe we want to make it easy. Our mission is to make it easier for Australians to become self-sovereign Bitcoin holders. And I believe we're in a land grab phase, and we want to help Australians claim their stake on this decentralized Bitcoin network, to claim their territory on this network by stacking Bitcoin. And that's what we do at Hardblock. That's what when people ask me, what should I do? Danny, what should I do in this space? You've been in it for a long time. I recommend just buy and stack Bitcoin and hold it for the long term. I believe sometimes the simplest strategy is the best, and that's what I believe. That's what I recommend to my friends and my family. And that's what we try to make easy in our business Hardblock. We make it very easy for customers to dollar cost average in and stack Bitcoin. Okay, but now I'll quickly just talk a little bit about the upcoming regulations. So last year there was a Senate inquiry into the cryptocurrency space, and there's a proposal for some regulation. And just to summarize this regulation, the key things about it, there will be more of a digital currency space will be covered by regulation. Right now it's exchanges, but there will be other businesses covered by regulation. There will be a license required by digital currency exchanges, and there will be more onerous rules on digital currency exchanges. And the senator who headed the inquiry said the aim is to bring down the number of digital currency exchanges in Australia from around 200 to about 30. Most people here are probably surprised that there's around 200 digital currency exchanges in Australia, but most of them are just sole traders, individuals, so there's many of these. But yeah, the aim is really to make running a digital currency exchange equivalent to running a bank. So in the proposed regulation, there's some good ideas, and the Australian Bitcoin industry body is making some recommendations, and hopefully I'm optimistic that the people in charge of creating that regulation will take voice and ideas on board, and that we can work with them to help improve that regulation. So just one last thing, before I finish, one last thing I wanted to mention. So again, at the Australian Bitcoin industry body, recently we sent out a query. So as we all know, there's going to be an election coming up. There's a federal election coming up, and at the Australian Bitcoin industry body, we sent an email to all the candidates who are trying to get elected, the electorates, and we asked them what their stance on Bitcoin is. So if you go to the Australian Bitcoin industry body website, you can just write that in. There will be a politics section, and you can go there and you can view the responses of the candidates who gave their answer. There's about 50 candidates who have responded. And so obviously, casting your vote is a very important decision, and everybody has to weigh up many issues, but maybe that can help you make that decision. So I welcome you to go check that site out, check that page out. Just if somebody wants to know the kind of the quick summary, it seems that the political parties which are the most favorable to Bitcoin, the candidates, were from the United Australia Party and from the Liberal Democrats. But again, there's many factors to consider, so yeah, everybody has to make their own choice. But that's it. That's all I have to say for today. So thank you for your attention. And thank you for
Thank you very much, Daniel. And again, good to see some Adelaide-based projects. Now, everyone should have heard about NFTs, non-fungible tokens. You have JPEGs of an ape that are worth millions of dollars. I wish I had one. But you have NFT projects that try and bring real-world utility to buying your picture. Then you have real-world businesses that have just brought NFTs into their daily business. So the next presenter is actually doing just that. I'd like to introduce Ethan from Roadshow Accounting.
Thanks, Jason. It's awesome to see so many people here. It's awesome to have this kind of thing going on in Adelaide. We don't, in Australia, we need to be on the forefront of trying to innovate in this space, and that's what I'm trying to do. So, a little bit about myself. So, I'm a business owner, so I run an accounting firm, Roadshow Accounting, and I also have my NFT project, Roadshow, which I'll talk about. And then I am also a YouTuber. So, I've produced plenty of content in the YouTube space talking about crypto, talking about NFTs, talking about tax on these things. So, can't get my slideshow to work here at the moment, but sorry guys. Mouse work. So what's the problem? Obviously there's a lack of information, a lack of knowledge and a lack of support. I think it comes down to how unique this space is, that if you think for crypto, what is quite often happening, if we were to equate this to stocks, it's like you're trading Microsoft stock for Apple stock and then paying for the fees in Facebook stock. And you can see how that becomes incredibly confusing from a tax point of view, because, well, where's the taxable event? Have you got multiple taxing events in one transaction? And there's just a lack of information. A lot of what the ATO are going off at the moment is from a few tax rulings from 2014, and what they were pretty much trying to say is that all cryptocurrencies take the same form of Bitcoin. So pretty much saying every single cryptocurrency is like Bitcoin, which, as you'll see from a few of the guys that have already spoke before, that's just not the case. There's so much innovation in the space, and you can't say everything takes the form of Bitcoin, which has really changed itself. Initially, people were thinking of it like a currency, as in the word cryptocurrency, but people are using it as a store of wealth. So how should that be taxed? How should DeFi be taxed? We've got NFTs, DAOs. There's so many different things happening, and they all come with their own tax issues, and that leads to a lack of knowledge. Like, there's so many people that I've had come to me as a client go, I didn't even realise crypto was taxable. I thought I just paid tax on it when it came out of my account. And I have these conversations daily. So there's just a lack of knowledge and then a lack of support. So I've had so many people come to me that have said, my previous accountant has said, I don't want to deal with you at all, you're involved in crypto, go somewhere else. And these people have been with their accountants for 15 or 20 years, and they're just saying, go somewhere else. So I've kind of gone, okay, well, this is clearly an issue in the space. How do we fix that? Because, if we've got, talking about, I think in the future, everyone's going to be involved in crypto and somehow, and therefore are going to need to understand how it's taxed, and therefore we need that support. So I'm trying to tackle it across the different fronts of, first, educational content. So I've made a YouTube channel to try and talk about these issues and trying to talk about the basics of, well, what is tax on crypto, what is tax on NFTs, how does tax work on staking, try and tackle these basic topics that I think everyone should have an understanding before they jump into the space, because I'm seeing so many stories of people that have got 3 or 4 years of data, they've got 5,000 transactions and they're in a complete mess, and how do they account for that? So it's trying to get on top of that early when you first jump into the space, and trying to talk about topics like I've got a Hoping Damon video coming out tomorrow talking about what happens in the situation of this Luna UST disaster that's going on for people. What's the tax implications of that? So understand that if you're sitting there on $100,000 of gains that you've realised, you might be sitting on $100,000 of unrealised losses, but if you don't realise those losses, you're going to end up with a massive tax bill, even though you may have made no profits overall. So trying to explain those situations and be on the front foot, and whether that's looking at tracking software, there's options out there that Coinly, Crypto Tax Calculator, that I've done some reviews on and really delved in deep, especially over the last couple of months. I've spent days upon days in these softwares, and they're not perfect. So people think that they're just going to be able to dump all their data, they're going to produce the report, do their tax return. It's just not the reality of it. So it's trying to educate people about get onto these things early, have an understanding, and not just use them to complete a tax return, but also use them to make decisions that is going to save you money. Because if you can save tax, then you've got more money to then go and reinvest or live with. So I'm trying to do that by offering services and support and just education, trying to put as much free education out there as I can to trying to avoid these people ending up in those situations. So that led to me launching my own NFT project. So trying to show how a small business or small creators can use an NFT project within their business to not only have some fun, which I've had plenty of fun as you'll see by some of these characters I've drawn, but also have fun with and provide value to clients and provide value to their customers and integrate it and be on the front foot. So I've launched my own project, Rooshops, which is the 1,200-piece Ethereum-based NFT project, which is split across 60 characters. So you see a few of them on the screen. So I drew them all. I'm definitely no artist, but I had some fun drawing these. So we've got the YouTuber, the calculator, the crypto miner there. And they all come with real world utility. So for instance, the YouTuber there, it's priced at 0.08 ETH, which is around about $240 I think this week, about $350 last week. And that comes with 3 tax returns. So 3 individual tax returns for $240 and you get the NFT. So I'm trying to show people that an NFT project isn't just about pictures of apes. They can have real world utility. So, we've got a Discord community where people are chatting, we're talking NFTs, we're talking crypto, and we're talking tax. There's plenty of people that go, for instance, I've invested in Luna, what happens now? What are my options? So we can tackle that from not only an investment point of view, obviously people discuss their real world experiences with that, but also tackle it from a tax point of view. So the Discord community's been great, that's all free. I mean, we've got an exclusive chat for holders where I'm trying to put in some real niche things and going, in this particular situation, here's some tips you can do to save some tax on it. So they come with real world utilities, tax returns, strategy sessions, tax planning, and a lot of what I'm talking about is educate yourself so you can make tax planning decisions. Like, I've had people come to me and they've gone, I made $600,000 of gains and it's already happened, there's nothing we can do about it because the financial year finished. Whereas if we'd looked at how that was structured, we could have reduced that tax bill by 50 or 100 grand. So just having that understanding and that understanding of what happens next, trying to educate people on, when's this going to be due for payment, what do you actually do? So I've come across, unfortunately, some situations where people have made enough gains that they've got a $60,000 tax bill, and they've now come to me and said, I've actually spent that money plus everything I had, I've lost it all gambling and trading it. So it's like, that education is just needed. So Rooshops Accounting was my accounting firm I founded a few years ago. I've been involved in crypto since 2017 and had to have an understanding, how did this work from a tax point of view myself? So I started making content about it and suddenly get a lot of inquiries about it. So we do crypto tax returns, which is obviously just, you come to me with what your figures are, I go through, I make sure they look all right, we do the tax return. The crypto tax planning, which is what I've talked about a lot, of trying to go, this is your current situation, what can you do to potentially reduce your tax bill? Because at the end of the day, like I said, you reduce your tax bill, it leaves more money for you, which is obviously what we all want. And then looking at the crypto tax tracking. So I've taken on a few massive projects over the last month of actually going through 5,000 or 6,000 transactions in a software and actually dissecting that and coming up with a tax report. And that can become expensive because it takes me some of the times 15, 20 hours to work on these jobs. And I'm doing it daily. So it's trying to teach people that, look, get on this top of it from day one. Don't wait till you've transacted 5,000 times across 10 blockchains with 5 different wallets. Maybe do it from that first transaction, you might not have these issues later on. And then I've got the YouTube channel where I've got about 150 videos on there, a lot of them around crypto tax. So I'm just trying to pump out as many videos as I can on topics that come up to try and educate people. I think, we've had speakers already talk about education and how important it is, but I can't stress it enough, is if you're not willing to educate yourself, don't enter the space. That's the reality of it, is otherwise you're going to end up in a situation where you either lose money or you make money, end up owing tax, and then go lose the money and end up having you don't want to end up with a $20,000 tax bill with $1 left in crypto. Like, how are you going to cover that? So, I do live Q&As on there where I jump on, answer questions, and then just trying to cover news across a range of not just crypto, but, talk about the budget, talk about inflation, talk about how all these things impact you, because you need to understand that crypto is not the be-all end-all. You need to have diversification, you need to understand your financial position overall, because then how if you don't understand that, how can you then go and invest? So where to find me, got the YouTube channel, got Twitter, got the websites, still got plenty of the NFTs available to mint, and it's all about trying to educate. I'm trying to lay that blueprint that if there's another small business out there that goes, look, I'm interested in launching an NFT project, I want to talk to them and go, look, this is what I've learned. It's definitely a challenge, but showing that it's not just about the big projects that are worth millions of dollars. There are projects out there that provide you with real utility, that if you can get $300 of services and you're paying $300 for the thing, well, there's no risk. You're not relying on floor price, and you're not reliant on something to skyrocket in value to make sure that you've got value for what you've done. So I'm heading off to the US on Tuesday to go to VCon, an NFT conference over there, and trying to keep educating myself so I can keep relaying that education onto people. So appreciate everyone for coming along, and have a good afternoon / night.
Thank you, Ethan. As we all know, the ATO is getting more switched on. I lost my ledger in a boating accident. Doesn't work anymore. So, like Ethan said, prior planning will give you a much better result when it does come to tax. Don't leave that to the last minute. Next up, we get into some NFT projects. I'd like to get Danny up here. He is representing Meraki. Let me get your presentation.
G'day everyone. Okay, just get this loaded up. Just coming up. No.
Tech guy's gone.
It's a PC problem. You would have that problem with the Mac.
Can I get your whole file pass here and look at each page one at a time, please? It's been no expense, we've got on-site tech here. I work for free.
Yeah, you should go for
Alright, hello everyone. I'm here to present Meraki, which is a generative art platform on the Polygon network. So Meraki is a word that modern Greeks often use to describe doing something with soul, creativity and love. Essentially throwing everything of yourself into what you are doing. The team behind Meraki, Kingmaker is founder of Meraki and Crazy Crows Chess Club, which is another NFT collection. He's behind a lot of the development, strategy and financial. He's got a lot of financial expertise that he's lending as well. Crispy Mangoes is the smart contract developer, and he's a mechanical engineer turned Solidity developer and also the co-founder of the Crazy Crows Chess Club. Paravel has over 10 years of experience in front-end development and Web3 development. and that is where these three guys all fit into the team. Alright, it's a bit hard to see where I'm going up here. The generative art market. Within the past 12 months, generative art primary and secondary sales equate to almost $1 billion US. Some of these high-end pieces, like the Fidenza from Tyler Hobbs, selling for as much as 1,000 ETH, which, as mentioned before, was worth a whole lot more last week than it is this week. To put this into perspective, you've got almost $200 billion a year being spent on physical art, which shows you just how much room there is for digital art to grow. In the NFT space at the moment, we have many well-known names popping up, trying to bring their own marketplaces forward to get a piece of what currently is pretty much owned by one platform, which is OpenSea. Coinbase is one of these brands that is bringing their marketplace, their NFT marketplace. At the moment, they're currently in beta. Coinbase has an estimate of 68 million wallets. When you compare this to OpenSea, OpenSea is looking at around 1 million wallets, which is growing exponentially quickly. But when we're looking at exposing 68 million accounts to NFTs, you can see where these big brands joining the space can have a massive effect. This will also bring new potential investors and collectors, and obviously artists as well, into the space. Something that I'm sure you'll see more often than not in both NFT and the crypto space. We are all still very early. So in an average period of 24 hours, there's around 40,000 NFTs being sold. Considering the limited amount of wallets that are currently active, this is going to show some real promise into where the market can go. And this activity, is based generally around the statistics of the Ethereum mainnet. And all these other blockchains that are getting into this as well are growing at a very rapid pace. NFTs, being an artistic base, inspire a desire for self-expression, idealism, and that is intertwined with the need to create, preserve, and showcase. Like the collectibles that we all grew up with, had a pretty funny kind of idea in my mind. Last night I was thinking, oh yeah, trading cards and comic books and stuff of my era, dating I guess back to going to people used to collect marbles and things like that in my dad's day and my grandparents' days. It's been around for a while and it is only getting more and more digital as it goes on. The blockchain has enabled us a new use case for art, and this is in the form of NFTs. Whether it be for business sake, for artistic value sake, for collectible sake, there is a lot of this coming out of the woodwork, and it is only going to get bigger and bigger. So the use cases. Artists and collectors both have been taken into account when Meraki's been built, and the platform has been built for them to both have a great experience on the platform. Generative artists can apply directly on the Meraki platform, where they will get their own personal dashboard to monitor and review their projects. The artists and the collaborators as well are able to test all of their project's code on the platform. So there is no need to leave the platform to test your code in different programs and things like that. It's all able to be done on the Meraki platform. Meraki also encompasses a use of the Chainlink VRF, which will be able to give artists a provably random results on chain, which will allow for higher outputs in their projects as well. Being on the Polygon network, collectors can now join mints without the fears of these expensive gas wars. Looking at one of the big collections that launched on Ethereum, it would have been about 2 weeks ago now, ended up chewing up, I think it was about $150 million worth of gas fees on that. which when you're looking at that, it's great that they have that demand to create that, but it's also $150 million worth of money that could have gone back into these projects, gone back into the space to keep building and moving forward. Collectors will also get their own galleries to view their art pieces on Meraki, and we will be working with visual reality and augmented reality partners to allow quick and easy virtual curation. So launching on the Polygon network, Meraki solves a lot of the challenges that developers and users are currently facing with Ethereum at the moment. A lot of these difficulties will include that low output and high gas charges. Polygon is going to allow Meraki to thrive as it is scalable, secure, and interoperable between other Ethereum-based chains. The tokens will also be able to be transferred to other compatible networks, and our Meraki token, which is going to be the governance token of the protocol, will be on the Polygon network and follow the ERC 721 standard. So spoken about before, the main foundations behind Meraki is it's built on Polygon network. It includes this Chainlink VRF for higher outputs and provable randomness. The Meraki token will be the token behind the DAO and what will propel the decisions to move the platform and protocol forward. And then obviously a very friendly user interface and user experience. So Meraki, the generative art creation is going to be enabled through smart contracts and the Chainlink VRF. The artists will use a unique hash provided by Chainlink VRF to provide better outputs for their collections. This is all done through the simplistic user interface, and the team has endeavoured to create a very easy to use interface to provide a great experience. Through the blockchain, art is going to be able to be stored forever. This is also going to serve as a ledger for the piece or collection's copyright data. Once it's there, it's there. There's no questioning it. There's nothing like that. It is on-chain and it's there forever. As we mentioned before, the Meraki DAO, when it is formed, is going to dictate the future direction of the protocol with people with investors and collectors in mind who have the ability to throw their votes forward to be able to affect this. And then as well, the founders token, which is what Meraki has at the moment, is going to distribute a portion of the 1,000 from the treasury to the holders as well. So there will be future cross-chain implementations for Meraki, and even as it is now, some of these assets are able to be moved to the other chains. The whole idea of being on Polygon is that it is cheap on gas and all of that. If you did want to pay the bridging fee to move something to, let's say, Ethereum, that is a possibility as well, but kind of defeats the purpose of it, I guess. These are just a few of the use cases and features of Meraki, and a lot of more specific information as it is released, as it is built, is going to be put publicly available for anyone who would like to look at it and the holders to have that information as well. And so going back to this Chainlink VRF, it is a new technology that is being brought to this generative art space. It's not going to allow anyone to be able to affect the randomness or to be able to try and kind of create their own randomness like a lot of people have done with different collections of being able to see what's there, what's coming up, and mint selectively what they like. All of this Chainlink VRF does help that and gives that provable randomness to any of these artist collections. conclusion, the Meraki platform is still very new, only being a few months old. So far, they have released 4 artist collections, and we're very excited to be able to continue this journey through cryptocurrency and NFTs and help pave the way forward for digital artists and collectors alike. As all of us in this room, we love to see progress, we love to see new things emerge in the market, and we're extremely happy to be able to be a part of that. Thank you.
Look, my name's Chris. I do go by Eversleep online. If that doesn't make sense to a lot of you, a lot of what happens in the NFT space happens on Discord and for sort of currencies as well. If you get to the point where you do want to move off those centralized exchanges and to learn about what other people are doing, get involved in communities, Discord is the place to do it. I'm from Castle NFT. Thank you everyone for having me here today. It's great to be in a room full of people that actually want to hear about crypto. If your friends are anything like mine, they are well and truly sick of it. Do not want to hear what I have to say anymore, and they are also very, very smart this last week. To begin with, I'm going to play you a video. The reason I'm going to play this video is we spent a lot of money on it. It was part of originally, we thought of part of our marketing scheme, we were going to do these teaser videos, we were going to put them out there, people were going to get sort of addicted to them, we were going to drop one, then the next. Twitter would have banned my advertising on that pretty much instantly before it went up at all. So we had this great video, and no one watched it basically. It was filmed by a professional film crew. It was done at the old Brisbane hospital. And seeing as I've got you all here, I'm going to make you watch it.
We'll try.
I don't think we need to see typically as that's the things we're going to get I think technically markets is going to society, but man is unimaginable. I think we're actually on the cusp of something exhilarating and terrifying. Systems are all over. No, it's not. The actual context and the state of content is going to be so different to anything that we can really envisage at the moment. Where the interplay between the user and the provider will be so in sympathetic for it's going to crush our ideas of what mediums are all about.
Human. So now we can feel a bit anyway, now we can feel a bit better about all the money spent. Look, that was obviously our trailer there. We had our artist Ryan, who's sitting over there and possibly wearing the exact same thing he was in the video. So the art. So Castle NFT is an NFT project based on a piece of art which was drawn by Ryan. We actually have it up on the door over there, which is the print of that one, which will actually be raffled off during today as well. It's a huge piece of art. It took him over 2 years, 16 pens, so not pencil, all done by pen, and it was the first time he's actually done anything like that as well. Get close to it, have a look.
concept is incredibly intricate, and you'll also find lots of Easter eggs in there. You'll find the Bitcoin symbol, the gravity finance, Ethereum. There's nearly different crows in there as well. There's a competition if you can work out how many crows there are in there. There's a prize going for that as well. He started doing it originally from a bad place, so it became a therapeutic exercise as part of sort of battling a bit of depression, and grew into something quite beautiful. So, piece of artwork that he's very proud of. He also holds the title as well. He got the most upvoted post on the Reddit art community ever. Not for this, it was for a collage he made that you may have seen. It was a portrait of Putin made out of little dicks. Again, it didn't help Twitter. I'm pretty sure they banned his account for that one. So Castle Tea was born basically from an idea. It wasn't our first idea. We were doing it until that point where there were probably 100 or more thousand NFTs launched every day, and they were pretty much all the same. They're all animals and hats and things like that. And every time I talk about this, I'm not disparaging those things, because at the end of the day, that's what sells, right? They're the most popular and they make the most money. But it's not what we wanted to do. We want to take that NFT space and do something a little bit different. So it's actually been great to hear from some other sort of projects today that are doing something a little bit different in that space as well. And we'll go into, I guess, how it actually works in a minute, and why Polygon. So similar to Meraki on Polygon, Polygon is a layer 2 solution, so it uses the same coding language as Ethereum, but the gas is so much cheaper. Obviously, when we launched this one, the gas price at that time, I think on Ethereum, was averaging around $50 to $100, whereas in Polygon chain, you could mint one of these pieces for less than it was going to cost in gas. We think the barrier to entry for NFTs or even most projects on Ethereum is just too high. You've pretty much got to have already a lot of money to make a lot of money. Look at the Yuga Labs drop the other day where people were again spending $6,000 on gas and getting absolutely nothing. Goes in the ether. Such a waste. Polygon is a solution that we spend most of our time on for some of the projects as well, and it's been really great for us. So the project itself, what we did is we took that picture there, we broke it up into 25 different pieces, and when people minted, they would randomly get one of those pieces. What we have here is basically someone's wallet who will be connected who owns these pieces here. It came across in a few different rarities, which were basically different colours. And the idea was it was a race to try and complete these full puzzles in the different rarities. To make it a bit more interesting as well, because of course a lot of this stuff is speculation, we thought throw up some prizes. So the first people to collect the full puzzle across these prizes would get different amounts of money. Now, Iron went, I think, in about 2 minutes. So that one's been claimed and paid out already. The rest of these are still available. So we can mint out straight away, but that's not really a problem for us because it's a game that continues as long as people are still minting. The idea being, if you mint a piece, you make it a gold piece that will be worth obviously a lot more than what the mint would be. And those prices are still up there. Now, with it not minting out, we had a few ideas for some follow-up projects. We are actually pushing forward with another project at the moment, which is our Castle P2E. If anyone familiar with P2E, there are quite a few out there at the moment. This one started as an idea similar vein of Wolf game or Sunflower game, if you think Polyfarm. But of course we didn't want it to be exactly the same as everything else, so we've gone over time with our development. It's still not launched yet. Trying to make it a little bit more different. Learning from the experiences, learning from what other projects have done to make sure that it actually brings value. And because we always want to bring value back to those original projects, that will act as land, which adds to the multiplier for this original game as well. There's a few extra pieces in there I won't go into any detail because we're still sort of tweaking some things there, but the entire ecosystem and some other stuff we have planned for the future as well is all designed to bring value back to those original pieces as much as possible. I've done a bit of a speed round because I know we've been falling behind. So that's all I've really got for today. With this as well, if you want to head across to our Discord community, we will actually be giving one of these citizens away for free, becoming, say, you come from the roadshow as well. So we'll go free for you there. That's for me. I encourage you all to stick around and have a chat later. Talk about trials, tribulations, money you've made, money you've lost, and yeah, let's build the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chris. Next, we are actually expanding what we're talking about a little bit. We're actually going to start talking about ecosystem. You've heard us talk about chains, Ethereum chain, Polygon chain. They all do something different, and they all try and target a different reason to exist. So one of those chains is actually Tezos. I'm sure you've possibly heard about the coin. But I'd like to get Leo up to discuss what Tezos economy and chain is all about.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
So my name's Leo. I'm from Perth. I'm Tezos Baker. That just means I run a node on the Tezos network. Tezos is a Is there any way to make this presentation more top left? Ah, thanks. So yeah, Tezos is sits about 40 in the market cap, and it's a self-amending crypto ledger. So yeah, what is Tezos? It's a dynamic blockchain for keeping pace with technology changes, and it's a platform for smart contracts, asset tokenization, and NFTs. It's constantly evolving, with voting periods every 2 weeks. It's comprised of 3 modules: the network, transaction, and consensus layers. Just last month, Tezos replaced its consensus layer with an entirely different version of proof of stake, which enables faster transactions and better network stability. It's decentralized, 413 nodes around the world. And so yeah, those nodes are also called bakers. We put the transactions of NFTs, smart contract operations, into blocks and get a fee, transaction fee. And the fees are really cheap. So a lot of artists, it's really the place for artists to it's the place for artists doing NFTs because it's cheap. And everyone who holds Tezos gets a vote, whether it be voting on which baker generates your rewards for you, or whether it be running your own baker node and voting every 2 weeks to decide which technology amendments to adopt. It's really energy efficient. Transaction uses as much energy as a single tweet. And it's liquid proof of stake, which basically means when you take your Tezos out of the exchange, your Tezos is helping the network be secure. And you can see as transactions have been going up generally. I mean, it's cooled off a bit with a bit of an extended bear market we've been having. But generally it's been going up, and you can see the consumed gas has been coming down. And that's a result of all the consistent upgrades and technical optimizations. There's been 9 upgrades over the last 4 years that Tezos has been running. And you also earn a yield of 5.5% per annum. That's part of the proof of stake. So you get rewarded and you help secure the network. 50 million transactions last year, and the energy consumption, 17 global citizens for the whole year. More broadly, I think it was mentioned in a previous presentation, the NFT ecosystem is exploding and probably going to be around for a long time. It's very exciting for creators and artists. And so yeah, it's really cheap to mint NFTs on Tezos. About 40 cents. There it is, $40 for 100, 40 cents for one. So yeah, of course, artists are going to use it, it's much cheaper. Here's a few NFT marketplaces. I'll let this one play. One of, it's a music NFT platform with artists such as Whitney Houston, Doja Cat, and Torres B.I.G. The Recording Academy is partnered, was using one of to issue the NFTs for the Grammys. Here's another music platform that does NFTs on Tezos. They put the collaborating artists in the smart contract and they all collect royalties. Check it out. Tez, awesome NFT site for artists. Object. All these slides will be available at the end if you want to scan the QR code, go to the website. Partnerships. Formula One, Red Bull, Honda Racing, multi-year partnerships with the Tezos Foundation, so Tezos becoming a household name, McLaren, Ubisoft, the in-game items, NFTs, Manchester United, and also the New York Mets, baseball. Bank of America did a study that shows Tezos' developer interest is number 2, I guess after Ethereum. French bank is offering custody and trading services for Tezos. Also a Liechtenstein bank also just recently announced Tezos. Real estate's being tokenized on Tezos. Working with regulators to get that done. It's an ongoing process. TZ APAC is a Singapore Tezos entity. They just got a partnership with the Singapore National University of Singapore, who are the school competing on International Olympiad in Informatics, or IOI. The architect of Tezos, Arthur Brightman, won a medal, a bronze medal in that competition. Another person who won a bronze medal in that competition is co-founder of Ethereum, Vitalik Buterin, and another person from Nomadic Labs. Nomadic Labs is the core development team for Tezos. Although it's an open source decentralized project, everyone's welcome to put forward code proposals. Most of the development is done by this team, Nomadic Labs. If you're interested in the technical specifics, just have a search for Nomadic Labs and have a read of their blog. They've got 64 employees and 39 of them have PhDs. We are Developers Conference in Berlin next month. Tezos has got some exposure there. All right, DeFi. This is an over-collateralized stablecoin. So you put in roughly twice as much Tezos. You can borrow USD for about 2% and buy more Tezos. Of course, there's risks with that. Check the Tezos price frequently. This is another one. I really like this one. I think they've got the governance token incentive good. And I think the price has held up pretty well through all this market turmoil last week. They require 300% collateral, 3 times as much Tezos to borrow USD. And they also have DeFi and Bitcoin synthetic assets if you want to diversify. QuickSwap's the biggest decentralized exchange at the moment on Tezos. So you can swap in and out of various projects in Tezos. And another one that I really like is called Spicy Swap. They have limit orders and it's a DEX, a decentralized exchange. They've got a lot of clever gas optimizations that can save you transaction fees. Please join the Tezos Australia community. We don't really have a strong Tezos community, at least that I'm aware of. So I'd like to try and bootstrap that and get more people to get excited about Tezos and learn development to build cool stuff in Tezos. There's also this link for the global Tezos community if you want to check out some of the more established communities. So to bake Tezos, you'll need to get some. These are some popular exchanges when you're looking for. So baking is basically like staking. Tezos is listed as XTZ. Take control of your Tez, don't leave it in the exchange. Set up a wallet, I'll get to that a little bit later. Choose an active baker with spare capacity. And your Tezos wallet address normally starts with the letters TZ, and smart contracts start with the letters KT. So I'm just going to go back to that slide later. tzkt.io/bakers is where you can go to compare all the bakers and their reliability, making sure that they're paying out what they're supposed to. If you want to set up a wallet, Kukai is a web wallet. It's very easy to get started. You can sign in with a social media account. Just don't use that for large amounts in case something happens to your social media account. The right way to do it is get a Ledger Nano. Ledger Nano is better supported with Tezos compared with Trezor. So I always suggest people get a Ledger Nano S or X. They're both pretty good. So yeah, if you want to set up a baker, you need 6,000 Tezos, and you need to use 10% of your Tez, however many rewards you're creating. You need to hold 10% bonds. It takes about 24 days. So when you choose a baker, you're doing a special transaction called a delegation. Don't send your Tezos to a baker. You might not get it back. So delegating means you're transferring the right to generate your rewards for those Tezos in that address. So you don't need to keep delegating, you just do it once, and you can forget about it and let the rewards roll in. This is something a bit more advanced if you're putting liquidity into a decentralized smart contract. A decentralized exchange is a smart contract. If you're interested in that, go to that website and connect your wallet. Yes, that was 30% APY. This is what the process of setting up a Kukai wallet looks like. from left to right on a mobile device. It might be easier using your computer. And if you're familiar with MetaMask, Temple Wallet will be pretty close to that experience. They don't have a mobile app yet. These are some Ukrainian developers. They also do crypto store. And so yeah, my website is moneyevery3days.com. If you'd like to learn more, this QR goes straight to the slides. I don't have the slides publicly on my website. If you don't feel like scanning the QR code, you can just go to moneyevery3days.com/slides-Adelaide. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Leo. Look, I firmly believe, even if you are a chain maxi, whether it's ETH, Polygon, whatever, you need to learn and understand about more than just chain you love, because they all have different purpose. And it is well worth spreading that knowledge and experience. And while we're on that, we actually have, next up is James, who will be discussing another chain and another ecosystem, which is Solana. Just don't mention the price of OKBs, because it's dropped a bit in the last few days.
Yeah. I'll make this short and sweet, live with courage, as you say. So, yeah, Solana. I'm going to specifically talk more about the NFTs on there. So, I used to start with Ethereum. Reason why I moved from there was gas fees. If anyone here has an NFT, yes, no, nice. You'd know that obviously you're paying anywhere up from $100 basically just to buy one, which is, for new people who aren't into that, it's ridiculous in my opinion. No offense to Ethereum maxis. But seriously, if you're trying to teach new people to get into NFTs and you go, oh, there's $100 on top of that in fees, you just get mind blown, really, at the end of the day. That's my opinion. So with Solana, basically no gas fees at all, which is amazing. So really good barrier for entry, in my opinion. Pricing for NFTs, a lot cheaper. And then on top of that, at the moment, we've seen Magic Eden, which is the biggest Solana NFT marketplace, has actually overtaken OpenSea in the last week in volume, in transactions, new wallets that are being actively using it, mainly to OKBs. So anyone that got one, well done, made a lot of money. Otherwise, where am I going with this? So yeah, anyway. So Solana NFTs, on top of that, community is a really big thing in NFTs, not just Solana, Ethereum, Polygon, every other blockchain that have NFTs. So a big thing with Solana, we have a thing called the Aussie DAO. So there's a lot of Australians in there. We all look at NFTs in general, mainly Solana. There's about 1,000 of us. We're in there every night. Absolutely amazing. Meet some amazing people, boys and girls. We're seeing a lot of females actually get into the NFT space, which is really exciting. So we're seeing a lot of fully female teams when it comes to NFTs, and they've been doing really, really well as well, which is really great. Yeah, that's about it. To keep it really simple. If you have any questions, I can ramble on about this for hours, so I know I want to keep it really short and simple. So yeah, if you have any questions, ask me afterwards. Happy to go through it all. Thank you.
And thank you, James, for that. I actually hold a few Solana NFTs as well. I love those free mints. Most of my free mints are now floor price of less than the gas it cost me to mint, but we won't go there. Next, you've already had Ryan mention to you. He's the artist for Castle NFT. He is actually also the co-founder of Aussie Crypto Roadshow, so he's been a fantastic support to me. And I'm pumping him up and trying to get him a little bit shy and embarrassed because I know he speaks very well. But he's also the founder of Polygon Alliance. I will leave it to you, Ryan.
Thank you. So thanks firstly to Chris for picking me up and telling everyone that I am actually, yes, the most upvoted post on Reddit art of all time. Up there with, there's 20 million people in this sub. I spent 2 years making that artwork, and one night I was annoyed at this dickhead overseas, Putin. I thought, you know what, I'm going to make a collage of him out of lots of tiny little dicks. Sit there, married first size on the TV. Took me 10 minutes. I posted that on Reddit just for a laugh. Boom. It's gone viral. I'm famous for this bloody artwork. 2 years on that.
That's a good start. It's still alive.
Anyway. Alright, so hi, I'm Ryan. As Chris mentioned, the artist behind Castle. Also just helping out Jason with the roadshow here. He's done all the organising. I did a few of the graphics and things like that. If I want everyone, just give another round of applause for Jason. He's done a lot of this out of his own pocket. A lot of people wouldn't realise this. We've got a couple of sponsors here, but there's just little things that he's had to pay for by himself. So big ups to him there. All right, I'm going to get into what I'm actually talking about here. I'll keep it quick as well. So Polygon Alliance. So I'll try to shout into this thing too. Polygon Alliance is basically a community of projects on Polygon, which is it's a chain, as Tezos is, Ethereum. Basically, we're trying to bring attention to Polygon. We want to make it the #1 destination for NFTs and DeFi. And we do that through education, community, so trying to get people more, educated in the space so they know what they're doing. We've had people talk about rug pulls and all this sort of stuff. So we're trying to make people aware of what the dangers are and steer clear of the dangers of Ethereum. That's Ethereum bad, Polygon good, Tezos good, Solana good, all these other ones are good, but just Ethereum, steer clear of that bloody $5,000 gas fee. Why Polygon? I feel like this has been kind of covered to a degree by a lot of people. So there's the gas fees, $5,000 just in gas, which is it's money down the drain to buy a JPEG. It's ridiculous. So that's one of the main reasons. One of the big things that I want to just touch on is the emissions. So as you can see, one Bitcoin transaction is this big circle. I assume that represents some sort of amount of koalas killed or something. Or second one, one US home per month. Third one Ethereum transaction. Boo. 1 gallon of gasoline, 1 smartphone, and then 1 transaction on Polygon. So you can see it's a tiny little lamp there. It's like maybe like a flea on the koala that got killed. So big ups to Polygon there. Very good for the environment. Kind of good for the environment. Better than those ones. It was originally founded by myself, Dave Swinbank, and Beluga Bay. So on Twitter, they have a thing called Twitter Spaces, where you basically just join a little chat room, you talk, you try and shill your projects. But Dave and Beluga actually got on there and they gave people an opportunity to talk about their own projects, and then they gave advice and support. I listened into a few of those and thought, this is really good, but we need a place for these people to go. So I got in touch with them. I said, look, how about we create an alliance of these projects that are coming in. They come and then they go, they come and they go, and we need to sort of tie them all together. So how about we set up a Discord and a website where we can put a lot of the information that you guys are talking about in one place. People can come, they can actually connect with each other. Because Twitter is terrible for for this sort of stuff. It's sort of fly-by interactions. So we set up a Discord. Oh, there's the vision. I'll just go back to that one. Yeah, so we set up a Discord and a website, which are the main places that we get these people to interact with each other. In the Discord itself, we have channels where people they can ask for advice. So, we've got dev help, marketing help, design help. You can learn about NFTs, learn how to get started in general. If you know nothing about it, you can start on the website, jump into the Discord. You can learn everything you want to know about NFTs, DeFi, blockchain. And that's one of the main things that we want to do, is to just sort of hold your hand as people enter the space. Bring them in straight into Polygon so they don't even know about Ethereum. One of the things that we offer projects specifically, you can list your project on our website. So if you have your own project, you can just list for free on our website. We have featured projects. We'll share your pics or your blog posts on our socials. So we're really sort of built around trying to get you out there, and we use our community power to do that. So the followers we have are based on our community members. So because it's an alliance, we have Dave Swinbank, who's got about 17,000, Beluga Bay's got about 18,000. Then there's about 20 other people that all have different followers ranging from 5,000 to 20,000 as well. And the idea is that if someone joins the alliance and they want a bit of support, we use our collective powers to all share. It's not about trying to one-up each other. It's about the community on Polygon all banding together to help each other out and lift each other up together. We also have our PA verified badge. So it's something we're trying to bring in to try and just make the space a little bit safer. People are getting rug pulled and scammed and things like that. So what projects can do is they can apply to us for a PA verified badge, which involves some KYC, which is know your customer. We look at their history, we look at photos of them, what projects they've been involved with in the past, and we approve or reject their application. It's not to say they won't rug or scam you, but it's an indicator of trust. So we're trying to bring a level of trust to the Wild West. If they have the badge, it means that there's a low risk of them rugging, and we do have their photo on file, so we could take it to authorities. So that's something we're just trying to bring into, particularly for the DeFi space, where projects can apply. And if you see this badge, it means that there's a low risk. We're a non-for-profit at the moment. We don't charge for any of our services. It's all based around trying to make Polygon the #1 destination. So one of the things that we're trying to do as well is to just give back. So we've got all these projects, we've got all these communities, we've got all this power, but we can do much better than just trying to sell pics of apes and crap. We can do fuck cancer. We can do stand with Ukraine. We did that. The Putin dick pic thing. So that was auctioned off for charity. Fuck cancer is a big one that we've got coming up in a month, where we're going to have a metaverse gallery. We've got artists who are donating their art, and we'll have people come in and buy it. All the proceeds go to fuck cancer. All right, well, that's it. Just a nice quick one. So, if anyone wants to jump on the website, have a look around. The part of the education section isn't up yet, so just if you wanted to learn more about NFTs and DeFi in general, then just keep checking in. But in the next few weeks, we'll have that all up there. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, Ryan. Polygon Alliance, there is so many projects and such a far reach. So if you were thinking of launching a project and interested in launching on Polygon, they're the ones to go chat to. Next, we have a face that some of you may know from the many YouTube videos and his websites. Mr. Craig Cobb, would you like to come up and present?
Yeah, perfect. A little bit more. Hey guys and girls. The enthusiasm's electric. Wow, I'm feeling it right in my plums. Probably good to go. Beautiful. Hello.
Hello.
My name's Craig Cobb, and I have not spoken on a stage for well over 2 years because of this thing called COVID. And it's lovely to be back, and I'm stoked. And look, I put this presentation together Tuesday or something. I'm a procrastinator, and interestingly enough, obviously the market, basically got diarrhea and shit the bed heavy. You all okay, by the way? Put your hand up if you're feeling a little bit. Hey, how you doing? My hand's up. Don't forget, right? Bottom line is this: money. It's only money. I've made money before. I've lost money before. I've made fortunes before. I've lost fortunes before. What remains is that every day you wake up, the sun will rise, and if it doesn't, you're fucked. All right? So you have to worry about that day. The wind will blow. The dolphins will do their thing. The whales will go ahead and breach. It's just money. And whilst we have in our mind the whole, we've built something, we've got something, and it's now been wiped out. And I'm talking more so for anyone who held Luna. Of course, we've seen absolute carnage in that particular project, which had so much promise. I'm very fortunate. I never owned any Luna, but I have absolute empathy for those that did, because I've seen people that have been worth hundreds of millions of dollars that have been absolutely wiped out. Now that you can look at that and you can go, well, you dickhead, poor risk management, no diversification, you fool. Or you can be a compassionate freaking human being and go, oh mate, give us a hug. And that's what I want to see from this community going forward, is less of this Twitter bullshit being a bitch and carrying on like a freaking pork chop. We are human beings. We are in a space that is digitized. We are in a digital space. Just because you're sitting behind a computer screen does not give you the right to offend, upset, or be a pain in the ass to anybody. If you wouldn't say it to your sister, don't say it to someone you don't know. Be kind. Because there are a lot of people out there that are hurting themselves, having a hard time, and doing the most horrendous things you could possibly thought of. So please, join me in just, the crusade is love and nice. Be nice. You can always rebuild, okay? You can always rebuild, because money isn't real. It's our perception of what it is. Nature is real. Our heart is real. Our children, our friendships, our relationships. That is what is real. Money is not. And if you find yourself in the depths of pain and suffering because of money, I want to give you that light at the end of the tunnel that it doesn't actually fucking matter. You do though. Your life matters. That's not how I was going to start this presentation until yesterday or the day before. But I just think it's so important to just support each other, like, fuck, be friends, be nice. Anyway, I'm Trader Cobb, this is my business, this is what I do, and I'm a trader. Now, I have not presented these slides at all. This will be a bit of fun. So the whole point of this presentation, I'm going to move. The whole point of this presentation, can you all hear me all right here doing this? Yeah. The whole point of this presentation is to give you guys opportunity to understand how you can make money within our blockchain, cryptocurrency, digital asset, whatever you want to call it. Within this space, there are many ways to make money. This year, in more years than many, NFTs have hit the scene. Who owns an NFT? Raise your hand. Fucking legends. I don't, because I'm an idiot. I'm a simple, stupid trader. Well done if you've done well from it. There's a lot of money that's been made in NFTs, and I've been starting to research a little bit more about NFTs, because obviously our market has taken an absolute beating. I'm down $2 million in the last 4 days. You! But that's okay, because I'm here long term. Who's here long term? Yeah, we make our money in a short-term period of time through good investments. When the bull market hits, what do? We see our portfolios go up. We look at our balance sheets and we go, that is money that is ours. How many people took significant profits when the market was around highs? That is disappointing. Well done to those that did, and I'm not taking any beef or having any considerations negatively towards those that didn't. But I've been preaching like, no, I'm not going to say that. I've been preaching a lot about taking profits at the right times, because a piece of paper that, or your Blockfolio app that says I'm worth this much dollars doesn't mean jack squat when you've got to pay your mortgage because that number's now decreased. You've got to remember why you're in this space. It might be innovation, technology, a new way of the world, power to the people. And these are all very valid causes. But you're lying because you also want to have some money to make for yourself to better your life and your family's life. Who's with me on that? Yeah? That's what we're here to do. So when you have that life-changing significant amount of money, take it. Take the profits, because you know what? When things are up and they're good, you feel like you're 10 foot tall and bulletproof, but you are going to shit yourself at some point. We're all just one walk away from shitting the bed. That is the beauty of cryptocurrency and its volatility, and that is why I've dropped all the markets that I've traded. I've been in this space now with my business for 5 years. I started trading and investing in July of 2017 when I met this lovely character here, I think he's speaking next, Travis. When I got into this space, Travis was one of the first people that I met. I liked this guy, he's a good guy. Since then I've gone to do what I've done, and I've made lots of money, and I've profited. I've taken those profits. I'm not telling you that I've made lots of money because I'm showing you how big my nuts are or how great I am or anything stupid like that. I'm telling it to you because I had goals that I set myself. I'm a fisherman. I wanted a boat, and the size of the boat that I wanted required a certain car. I've bought the boat, I've bought the car, and I go fucking fishing. Why? Because I took profits. I turned them into something that I wanted. This is a means to give you the life that you want to have. One of the options we have is the NFT marketplace. I don't know diddly squat about NFTs. It is not my expert area. You can also go ahead and look at what's going on. What's going on with NFTs. So you can see I haven't done this for a freaking long time. Here we go. From 0.8 of an ETH, I know, what was the last percent? I know ETH bad. There you go. ETH bad. That's fine. I don't mind. I am agnostic. I am here as an investor and a businessman and a trader to make money, and to not shit on anybody while I do it. Big difference. I'm not a pump and dump person. I'm not an influencer as it might be seen. I don't give you access to pre-sales. I don't do all this sort of crap. I sell products. I teach people to trade. That's it. Because that's what I know how to do. You could have bought one of these things for that amount of that thing. Now that thing is worth this thing, and then you got the likes of Steph Curry, Chippy fella, I don't know who the hell that is, but I don't know, or Timberland. They're shoes, aren't they? Or is that a rapper as well? Is there shoes and I don't really know. And Posty? I don't know if I'm saying that right. Posty? No. They've gone bananas. Fucking how good was that for a the gorillas? Gone banana? No. Oh. We got it. Come on. As off the cuff as that, I should get a round of fucking applause. But it's not just these bored ape little weirdos. There's a whole bunch of other things that are going on. And look at the amount of the floor prices. This whole section of the market, I learned about it in 2000, I think it was 2019 early. An interview I did on my podcast, which is called the Adelaide Crypto Podcast. Back when I used to give all my time to interview other people for free, whilst leaving all of my profits for trading on the table. That was a bad business decision. I don't do so many interviews anymore because why? I like trading. That's what I focus on, and I don't give all my time away for free. But my point